Good evening, Mr. Mayor, ladies and gentlemen of the council, City Manager Mike Van Milligan, and most excellent staff of the City of Dubuque. My name is Rick Dickinson. I have the pleasure of serving as the president of Greater Dubuque Development Corporation. And I'm here, and I reside at 205 Hill Street. Yes, I have Christmas decorations up, dutifully. I'm here tonight because we have an agreement with the City of Dubuque, the mayor and council, to provide a quarterly update of the activities of Greater Dubuque Development Corporation to both the mayor and council, city manager and staff, but most importantly, the citizens of the city of Dubuque. You are a major investor. The private sector is the largest investor in Greater Dubuque Development, but the public sector is significant, and you are, of course, our partner. Before I begin my report of the last quarter, and in fact, a summary of the last calendar year, I do want to offer my recommendation and hope that the council favorably considers the ordinance that's on the agenda tonight for the trucking in downtown Dubuque. It was our pleasure to work with both trucking companies, manufacturers in our market, people that would be impacted by this decision and this ordinance. We were pleased to provide access for the city manager, made appointments to the city manager, met with many of these businesses so that the city could fully understand the pros and cons of this ordinance, and we think it's a reasonable compromise. In saying that and providing our full support and asking for your favorable consideration, I should also acknowledge that we realize that there's two sides to this coin and that other people would prefer to not have truck traffic in downtown Dubuque, and we understand that. However, I believe the compromise will come with further action from the council in the RFP that has been sent out by the city for a traffic study of Central Avenue. And that will be, I think, the point of potential compromise on the issue, dealing with the question of shall it be two-way street, one-way street? Can we calm traffic by making it more pedestrian friendly and still allow these essential businesses in our community to thrive and grow? So thank you for your favorable consideration of that. Our regional economy is strong. 2023 is a year of accomplishment. Few facts. Dubuque's unemployment, when I say Dubuque, I'm referring to the MSA, Metropolitan Statistical Area of Dubuque, which is Dubuque County. We had 3.1% unemployment in the latest data, which was for October of 2023. That means there were 60,800 people working in Dubuque County. 54,200 of them live and work in Dubuque County, and the remaining 6,600 commute from all the surrounding counties contiguous to Dubuque in Illinois, Wisconsin, and Iowa. There are 1,700 folks who are unemployed, classified as being unemployed looking for work. However, there are only 246 of our 99,000 citizens in Dubuque County that are collecting unemployment benefits. Let me repeat that. We have 60,800 people working in our MSA. We have 1,700 folks that identify themselves as unemployed looking for work, but only 246 of them are actually collecting any unemployment benefits. Unemployed returning to work because of the largesse of their benefits is not a solution. In fact, it's a false statement. Our goals at Greater Dubuque Development talk about our success, and that relates to the last calendar year. Our goals include employment reaching 64,000. As I just shared, we're at 60,800. That brings us back to the pre-COVID days of unemployment numbers, but it's still a distance from our goal by 2027 of reaching 64,000. Construction, there's a success story. Our goal is to have $1 billion in construction by 2027. With a year and a half into our 5-year capital campaign, we are $393,460,000 of construction. That includes $165 million in residential and $227 million in commercial. Our goal is to have that be more of a 50-50 split, but with what's going on with what I'm going to talk about in a bit in housing, we believe we will get to that number. Median household income, the goal is $76,000 by 27. We're at $73,495, far ahead of where we had hoped we would be at this point. Yes, part of that is due to inflation, but it's also employers in our market being more competitive in recruiting talent to our community. Reduced poverty by 5%. We're at 10% today. We need to get to 9.5. The elimination of federal dollars through the COVID assistance has ended, and so that is resulting in some stagnation of poverty, but we do believe we will far exceed that goal by 2027. And population, our goal is 105,000. We're at 98,677. That is one of our most daunting goals. Our greatest challenge as a region is population growth, and in turn, workforce growth. Here's an example. There are 2,202 counties in the United States of America that have a population of 100,000 or less. Dubuque County ranks 96th nationally in job openings per capita, the top 4% in the United States. Great news, right? Well, yes, it means we've been very successful in assisting existing business in expanding and recruiting new business to our market. But there's a downside to it. It's due to a disproportionate retirement in our market. The downside is we have too few people for the job openings that exist in our market, and it's not going to be fixed overnight. In fact, the cause of it dates back to the 1980s when families left, and our demographic from 35 years of age to 55 years of age is under census data for most communities in the United States. We also have insufficient net in-migration to our community to have the workforce that we need. Traditional economic development was really focused on hard infrastructure. Your daddy's economic development group. That doesn't apply to Councilman Wethel, of course. The traditional economic development was about streets and infrastructure and bridges, chasing smokestacks, recruiting business. But successful economic development is still that, but that is secondary to soft infrastructure today. Examples, housing. Greater Dubuque Development Corporation, in collaboration with the city and East Central Intergovernmental Association, studied housing. We sat down with the city leadership, the mayor and council, and talked about changes of process in order to stimulate housing. And the achievement has been discussed by this council at several meetings with over 2,000 units in some stage of development. And that will kick in 2024 big time. Childcare. We studied the issue. Greater Dubuque Development retained a consultant to come in and evaluate childcare from both a business perspective and a childcare provider's perspective. We tried to identify a change in process to achieve progress, and I'm pleased to say that on January 8th, the new facility that will be run by the Y, a development project by the Dubuque Initiatives, will be open for business. The first phase will include 120 children. The second phase will be 90 children. This is one of 3 new child care centers that will be built in Dubuque County. Over $8 million in state funding has come to Dubuque County with over a $20 million total investment in these 3 facilities. One in Dyersville, a $6 million project, $1.8 million of which was the state. The Cottingham and Butler Child Care Facility, which is under construction. The ground is, the basement is dug. That will have 200 children, received a $3 million grant from the state of Iowa, and Dubuque Initiatives received 2.15 and will be investing nearly $6 million in this new facility. This will increase the availability of infant care and the quality and affordability of child care in our market. We studied it, we changed the process, and we achieved progress. A second side of childcare is that Dubuque Initiative successfully applied for funding from the state of Iowa in the amount of $560,000, requiring a $280,000 match. Originally, it was going to be a dollar-for-dollar match, but the strength of the application submitted by DI was so powerful that the city doubled the match to the $560,000. Those funds will assist every licensed child care provider in Dubuque County by bumping up the starting wage for employees, because one of the greatest challenges for child care providers is child care workers. And if we can just increase the number of people who are providing that valuable service to our community and our families and our children, we can increase capacity overall. We believe that we can raise that fund to well over $1 million. And we believe that it's something that can be sustained year after year to make sure that in Dubuque County, you have quality, affordable, world-class child care, which will be a critical component to recruiting workforce in our community. A community of colleges. We sponsored events throughout the year to try to ingratiate our community to these students at Clark, Loras, University of Dubuque, UWP, Emmaus, and on and on. We do not have a Regents Institution here, but we have something nearly as great. And if we just focus on those students, we can achieve greatness. I'd like to thank the mayor for his letter, a personal letter sent out to every family of every student here in Dubuque County to welcome them to our community, wanting to ingratiate this community to them from day one. I'd like to thank the city manager, the mayor, and council for providing dual service transportation to every college student in Dubuque, to get them off the campus, to get them into our neighborhoods, to get them to shop and enjoy this community and enjoy all the natural amenities that we have off campus, so that upon graduation, they seriously consider this community for their next home and their first job. We also wanted to understand what's going on in our community from the standpoint of the new generation of labor. We did the Next Gen Perception Survey, just completed it December 15th. It went out to, we received responses from over 2,100 Dubuquers, most of which are under the age of 40, and asked them, what are the factors in considering Dubuque as a place to live and work? Now, what we'll be doing with the city is going over this in detail. We'll be breaking down the data so that the mayor and council can understand what the priorities of the potential workforce are, to work with you in the private sector to make sure that we, Greater Dubuque Development Region, are communities of choice. What are the top 4 things identified by these folks? It's not whirligigs and funny things or faddish things. It's concrete things, things that are essential to life and enjoyment and health. Number 1, access to health care. Number 2, affordable home ownership. 3, low crime rates. 4, great schools and education. Affordable quality rental housing. Access to affordable child care. We understand these problems because we study them. This report is just acknowledging that we're taking the right direction. We also ask, what quality of life amenities do you want to see in your community so this can be a community of choice for you? The top 5 are a variety of restaurants, ethnic restaurants in particular, natural features, wildlife, landscape, etc. Farmers markets, love them. Shopping, commercial districts, and hiking and biking trails. These are priorities. It also told us where they thought Dubuque landed in asking what those priorities are. They also shared where other communities landed in relationship to these priorities. And we'll be providing more information to the city manager and staff and the mayor and council as we move forward. But just as this was a year of achievement, it has also been a year, I'm sad to say, of discontent. In April of 2023, a letter was sent out to the mayor and council, the city manager, expressing concerns about several projects that had failed to progress in the Dubuque market. What resulted from that, in my view, was a solicitation of grievances. I would relate it this way. Think about your best friend, a lifelong friend. But instead of talking about all the things that made your relationship with that friend rich, all the things that went right for decades, you only thought about the times it didn't go well. Somebody said something in anger. Somebody didn't show up for a wedding. Somebody made a mistake, and you put that on a plate, and you said, judge that friendship based on those grievances. Solicitation of grievance is damaging. It needs to be acknowledged. We need to understand it, but we can't allow it to be blown out of proportion. Anything that's going on in Dubuque that needs to be fixed, we can fix. I think for those collectors of grievance, the notion is Dubuque is broken, and only we can fix it. Dubuque is not broken, and together we can make it greater and greater as time goes on, not just in 2024, but for decades to come. Greater Dubuque Development, addressing the concerns expressed by community leaders who had collected these grievances, put together 3 roundtables in cooperation with the city manager and staff, invited anywhere from 60 to 80 business leaders to come and join with us to talk about their concerns. The first was in regard to design review teams. The second was in regard to the city's policies on leases and the sale of city property. And these meetings were very successful, but a common theme that kept coming up that wasn't part of the topic was the culture. And really that was more personal than it was economic development. And I think it was a dangerous trail to go down. And so we focused on making change that made a difference to development in Dubuque. And the city has done that. In all 3 of these cases, there is conversation and progress, changing process for progress. My board of directors, I have the pleasure of serving 46 members of the board of directors of Greater Dubuque Development Corporation, said, Rick, why is it that we didn't know that there's so many businesses that are angry? Why haven't you asked the right questions? Why didn't you get this information? After all, you sit down with anywhere from 250 to 300 businesses face to face every year, ask the same questions of each, put the database into a contact manager software. We can merge all that information, understand what's going on any given day. Why didn't you know this? And so I didn't have an answer. It did surprise me. And so we changed our process. Beginning in August, we asked the question, we want you to rank government's ease of doing business from 1 to 7. We have asked this so far of 44 Dubuque businesses. We asked their analysis of their relationship with city government, county government, state government, and federal government as it relates to ease of doing business. The 44 folks, the average score for the city of Dubuque today, since August of this year, is 4.46 on a scale from 1 to 7. The county was 4.98. State government was 4.53. Sorry, federal government, it was 3.79. Economic development isn't broken in Dubuque. It's strong. I have the pleasure of standing on the shoulders of great people that started Greater Dubuque Development Corporation 40 years ago. A Big Ten organization where everyone had a voice and no one had control. And it came out of a time of discontent. It came out of a time where people were looking for grievances instead of solutions. And I hope to God we honor those people that started this organization and all the leaders that have served there since and all the people that have put their treasure into it to make it work. To get all the things that we just described tonight as the achievements of this organization, not just in the last 3 months, but the last 12 months and for decades to come. I want to thank the Mayor and Council for your support, and I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have.